Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, as you've seen in title and thumbnail. In this video we are going to see, what if Deku was blessed and trained by Yagi? This is part 1. And for more, comment down your thoughts and like, share. Also don't forget to check out author of this story named Izuku Yagi God's Training by Mvixa. And check out my Patreon for new uncensored and demanding lemon fiction. All details in description. Your son is quirkless, I'm sorry, the doctor said. 15. That statement shook me to my core. I dropped my All Might figurine that was in my hand and began tearing up. But little did I know that is how hell began for me. I looked over to my sister as she was jumping for joy as she was told that she got a quirk that was evolved from her parents that let her speed up and get extra strength, dad, and got a telekinesis quirk greater than mom's. Here is exactly how her quirk works. The doctor started Izumi Midoriya, age 4, quirk. Telepath strength, she can lift up to 10 tons, but at 10 tons only for 3 seconds. She can lift 1 ton for 3 hours, 2 for 2.75 hours, 3 for 2.25, 4 for 1.5 hours, 5 for an hour, 6 for 35 minutes, 7 for 10 minutes, 8 for 1 minute, 9 for 35 seconds, and 10 for 3 seconds. I know the slope is all over the place, but that's what the reading says. The strength comes in with her ability to enhance her speed and strength by 2 for 1 hour or 5 for 5 minutes. She can only do 2 or 5 times stronger though, and this part of her quirk cannot be improved by training. 5. By the time the doctor was done, mom didn't care that I was crying or jealous of my little sister. All she cared about was how her daughter was gonna be a great hero. They celebrated together for a time, but after she came to me and asked if I was okay. I fake smiled and said I was fine and that they shouldn't worry about me. I was lying through my teeth and she seemed to notice. After she made sure I was feeling a little better, we left and said thanks to the doctor. 3. When we got home, dad asked, "Hey honey, what are the kids' quirks?" Mom replied, "Well, Izuku is quirk lesson." Izumi cut her off and said, "I have a telepathy and strength enhancement quirk combined into one." 11. Well, that's terrific Izumi, but Izuku, how you holding up? 4. Thanks to mom I'm feeling a bit better. Okay, well just hold on, okay. 8. Okay. I went upstairs and was immediately disappointed. I knew that being a hero was almost definitely off the table. I listened to the radio I had in my room and heard about how Eraserhead had captured a villain. 4. I can become a hero without a quirk, I can beat them up like Eraserhead, I thought. 5. In the next month, I began to train hard. At the time I didn't notice it, but my parents began to neglect me. And poured more attention to my sister. After working out for 2 weeks I could do 30 push-ups, squats, mountain climbers, etc. Run 4 kilometers non-stop and hold a plank for 15 seconds. Then I bought 5-pound body weights for my wrists and ankles. And a 10-pound vest. The rest of the month I worked to be able to do my workout in those clothes while still going to school in them. 33. It was after the next month that my parents went full neglect mode. They didn't cook for me, wouldn't acknowledge my work, stopped helping me when I needed it, and wouldn't even talk to me. During this month, to realizing how strong she really was, Izumi and KIAOKEN began to bully me. 2. After the full neglect had started, I learned that I was gonna have to fend for myself. At first, I just ate leftovers, but then my parents got mad at me for eating their lunch for the next day. So then I started getting cheap chore jobs to buy myself cheap food from restaurants, clothes, and my weights. Time skip 5 months. Stop KIAOKEN, I stated. Or what, Deku, he replied. 1. I had just jumped in on a scene where KIAOKEN was bullying a little girl. I couldn't stand him being mean to others just because he was stronger. So I rushed to protect the girl. She had black hair and had a ponytail. And her eyes were an onyx color. She had a shirt and some tan shorts on and was just looking around when KIAOKEN decided to attack her. "I'll stop you," I replied. "Well, let's see it." Needless to say, I lost. But I still got a few punches in. I was now wearing 20 pounds of weight on each ankle and wrist and 30 pounds on my vest that was under my shirt. But I didn't know how to fight. After about 5 minutes of laying there, the girl asked if I was okay. 3. "Yeah, I'm fine," I said, jumping up. "Okay, good. Thanks for what you did, my name is Momoyarozu," she said. Plus. And my end name is Izuku Yagi, but call me Izuku, I'm not the biggest fan of my last name, I stuttered. OMG, I'm talking to a girl, I thought. 7. "Okay Izuku, thanks again. And do you want to be friends?" she asked. "Sure," I said. "Okay wah," she started. "Momo, it's time to go," a woman called. "Okay mom, coming," she replied, then turned to me and said, "Thanks again, see you later." 1. With that, she ran off and I returned to my room to fix up my arms and face alone, again. Time skip 10 years, depression warning, skip second paragraph if uncomfortable. In those 10 years, I trained endlessly. I currently am wearing 12 tons on my wrists and ankles, plus another 15 tons on my vest. I hid my strength so I don't piss off Bakugo. I stopped calling him Kaken 3 years ago. At that time I had started to learn karate. I would later learn all sorts of taijutsu, but I was best at karate. 53. Even though I was strong, all the neglect, torture and self-sacrifice had its toll on me. I was depressed and no longer showed emotion when bullied or harassed. But I didn't tell anyone cause no one would listen. 14. At that moment the teacher said, "It's time you think about what you're gonna do in the future." Well, that doesn't matter, you all wanna be heroes, right? The whole class went wild with their quirks. Idiots. 1. Settle down, you know you're breaking a law, right? Hey teach, don't lump me in with these extras. At best they'd end up as a sidekick to some D-lister. Izumi and Bakugo yelled, "We're going to UA, and you can't stop us." 2. Then the whole class let off a small snarl. "Got a problem," Izumi said. 1. Yeah, Izumi and I passed all the mock tests and training courses for youth from UA. Bakugo finished. Okay. Wait, didn't you also apply for UA? Izuku, the teacher mocked. 1. The whole class started laughing hysterically except for me, Bakugo, and my sister Izumi. "Do you really think they would let a quirkless runt like you and keep dreaming?" Deku, Bakugo stated. "You have no chance," Izumi said. This pissed me off. But I showed no emotion to their words, and that got them even madder. When Izumi tried to pick me up with her telekinesis she couldn't and said, "The hell nerd, why can't I pick you up? Never mind, I'll just deal with you the hard way." She zoomed over and punched me in the face. I faked getting hurt and moved with her punch, not wanting to draw attention. And this was because I had a surprise for them in the gym. Today was the last day of school, so we would take one last skills test to see where we were in the class, and today I was gonna show them how good I really was. 2. But before that Bakugo had the nerve to say, "You know there is a way to get a quirk." My eyes slightly lit up at the prospect, but barely. "Just take a swan dive off the roof," he started. "And pray for a quirk in your next life," Izumi finished. 17. Time skip gym class. Alright, today we are having our gym class. First up, last test's winner Katsuki Bakugo. We'll start with the push-ups in 1 minute. Bakugo got 29, Izumi got 30, and the rest of the class got around 15. Okay Izuku, you're up. Hey coach, mind if I take off my weights? Sure. I placed them down gently, but they still cracked and broke the floor. The whole class was in shock as to how the cement was now broken from some weights. Even the coach had his jaw on the floor. While they were staring I got into position. 5. Hey, you gonna start or what? I said. Oh yay, sorry about that, he replied and started. For the first 30 seconds, I did nothing. Then I started doing my push-ups when the timer hit 30 seconds. Beep the timer sounded. Shit, only got 292 shit, I said. Again the whole class was shocked as I beat the record in Japan and the world, the previous record being pre-quirk era, and was 257 push-ups in 1 minute. How the hell did you do that, Deku? Bakugo screamed. Yeah, you're quirkless, Izumi replied. 3. I interjected saying, if the whole class together can lift one of those weights I'll tell you. You're on, they said. 10 minutes later. I can't lift it, Izumi said. Use your quirk, I dared. You can't lift it then either. After she tried she wondered why she couldn't. I walked over and grabbed them all with just my pointer finger and thumb. Wow, you can't even lift something this light yet you still think so lowly of me, I started. Each of these is 12 tons, the vest is 15 tons, these are the school weights I wear, so I don't break the building when I'm out running, working out, or even just outside. I'm wearing twice that weight, and yes, I'm still quirkless. I've been working out like this since I got back from the quirk examiner 10 years 7 months ago. I've been holding back since I was 6.5 from these exams, but seeing as this is the last one before UA I thought I'd show you my real strength as a treat. And revenge. Izumi, Bakugo, the last time you hurt me with your bullying was 3 years ago. Since then I faked being hurt to stop drawing attention to myself. And since you all neglected me my whole life you didn't look to see how much muscle I actually had. Thank you, now let's continue. 11. I broke records for all of the tests. 4.15 seconds for the 50-meter dash, 67 meters for the long jump, 100 for the side steps, 115 meters for the ball throw. I broke the grip test, 1 ton limit, 250 toe touches. At night when Izumi told mom and dad about what happened at the physical exam they just laughed at the joke. But then after a while, dad wanted to speak with Izumi and I listened in. I saw dad turn into All Might, my hero, and said she should have his quirk because she deserved it. She accepted and that was my breaking point. At night I wrote a letter saying, "Hello Mr. and Mrs. Yagi as well as my so-called sister. Well, first I'm surprised you're reading this since you haven't paid attention to me in over 10 years. But I should say All Might and Green Telic that you have had made my life a living hell. If you look over in my closet you will see bandages. You wanna know who gave me those? Your daughter and Katsuki Bakugo. And yet you still want to give Izumi your quirk. Pathetic. Well, know this, you've won. I tried getting ahead in school training to be strong to overcome my disadvantage of being quirkless, but you know what, that doesn't matter, does it? Just know that you no longer have a son. Your dead relative. 2. Izuku. At night I was on my way to the school building and was looking down. At least this living hell will be over, I thought. But not too long before some middle-aged man stopped me. Hey Izuku. Don't do what you're about to do, he stated. I snapped up. First, how do you know my name? Second, what do you mean what I'm about to do? I was just on a stroll. And finally, with what you're implying, what right do you have? You don't know what kind of hell I've lived. I know your name because I am God, but more commonly known as King, he started. I know every human being on this planet and can view their memory as if it was my own. The only thing I can't control is who's getting a baby. That freedom was given to humans. 8. Izuku laughed. If you were God you wouldn't talk to me. I'm a quirkless kid, and wouldn't you be like glowing or something? I am God, I'll prove it, he said as he put his thumb on my forehead. He showed him how he created the earth, how he had lived and watched each species live and die out. He showed him millions of years in just 0.5 of a second. 16. Okay, I believe you now. Why do you want to talk with me? I sighed. 3. Well, I want you to come train with me. You have 10 months till the UA exams. In that time, you will get 20 years of training if you come with me, he said. But why me? Because you have lasted 10.5 years of bullying and neglect and still trained for your goal and even became strong enough to resist those tragedies. But then when someone had a way to give you what you lacked and you knew them, they decided to give it to someone who already had the power. You were pushed over the edge. I believe you are the strongest-willed person on this earth to ever live. 21. Okay. One last thing I start. How will I get 20 years of training in 10 months? I will transport you to a realm that 2 years there is 1 month here. 8. Alright, let's get going. King opened a portal and looked at me. I nodded in response and walked through. When I walked through the portal I was standing on a platform of glass floating in the sky. Down below there were 4 areas. One was a New York City in the pre-quirk era with some building alterations, one was a forest with a village nearby, one was a small city block with a police station, a house, and a small forest not far outside it. Finally the last was one that had an area with one huge building that was 250 stories high and a small house next door. After I had looked for a bit I turned around and looked into God's eyes and he asked, you like what you see? Yay. 7. Now let me get your trainers, he snaps and 8 figures appears behind him. Hey King, all 8 figures say in unison. Do. Izuku, these are your trainers, King says. What happened to him, figure 3 says. King proceeds to show them how badly he was treated for the last 10.5 years of his life and shows how much pain he was in. And how his own father betrayed him. Sorry kid, that's rough, but we all have had our fair share of troubles, but yours takes the cake, figure 7 states. 4. Damn, I thought I had it rough, figure 1 states. Naruto Uzumaki, that's my name. 20. Sasuke Uchiha, figure 2 states. 5. Hi, I'm gone, freaks, figure 4 states. 12. Hey, I was supposed to go first, anyway, kill you, and nice to meet you, figure 3 states. 6. Sorry, I was excited, freaks replies. 2. Light Yagami, figure 5 says. 44. L, says figure 6 who is curled up. 18. Tony Stark, figure 7 states. 35. Peter Parker, figure 8 states. 45. Okay King, who's starting, Yagami asks. You and L will teach him what you can about strategy. You're the best I know. King starts. Once he learns strategy, he will go to Gon and kill you to learn how to fight and fight with Nen. Also no need to teach him the strength. He's wearing 63 tons of weight right now. After that is over you will head to Sasuke and Naruto to learn about chakra and turn that into elemental energy. Finally you will end with Stark and Peter here, who will teach you about gadgets so you can make your own equipment. Also call everyone by their first name except for Stark, Izuku, King explained. 13. Alright Izuku, follow me, Light states. They arrive at the small city block area and Light begins his story about how he got the death note. After his explanation, he told me how he needed to learn how to make traps and countless false leads to avoid suspicion if he was being hunted. Next, it was L's turn to explain. He explained how he hunted down Light Yagami and why he lost. He said that if you are the hunter you must look past all the false leads and always make sure to be suspicious if you're the hunter. He also said that even the proven innocent can be guilty, so always be aware. 12. After they're done explaining and Izuku his questions, they explain the plan for his training path and how he will learn to strategize moves better than anyone else in his world. Year 1. Izuku learns from Light how to set up multiple false leads in one move to avert the blame away from him during the first 6 months. The rest of the year L taught him how to follow all the leads at once to find the real culprit and how to strategize if you need to separate men to find the culprit. 6. Year 2 and 3, Light. Light took the next 2 years to teach Izuku how to make traps for your opponent to fall into, how to locate hidden security details, and how to find blind spots in his second year. In his third year Light taught him how to make simple security traps so people won't find things he's hiding. He then taught him how to put multiple layers within a small space so that way only one way it can be found, while a wrong attempt would open up a perfectly safe area, allowing them to search the area without suspicion. 3. Year 4 and 5, Leaders. Now it was L's turn to teach Izuku how to be the hunter in a game of cat and mouse. In the fourth year, he taught him how to analyze the unanalyzable. He taught him how to learn identities based on their 2 cents and how they do things. 2. In the fifth year with Light and L, he was taught how to narrow down a search, strategically using their emotions and areas against them. He also told them how to distinguish if a new player comes into view based on slight differences in how they act. 5th year's end. Izuku had said his thanks to Light and L and told them how helpful they have been. On his last day, King appeared and took L and Light to their afterlife to live out the rest of their days. God explained how he would not get a death note or have to be in a cat and mouse that often, but to learn from them in order to make foolproof plans to stop villains who would attack them. 5. After the explanations and the goodbyes, King took Izuku to the tower area and met Gon and Killua there. Gon and Killua. After going to the tower area I met Gon and Killua who were here to teach me about an inner aura that we all have and that I can unlock as soon as they said that I was hit in the back and suddenly a white mist was surrounding me. Now imagine that steam circling calmly around your body Killua shared. I closed my eyes and imagined the sensation of the white mist circling my body calmly and slowly. Afterward, I opened my eyes to see the aura doing just what I imagined. Killua and Gon both shared how Nen works and how this is stage 1 of 4 for the basics. Year 1. In my first year with Gon and Killua I was told how to use Ten, Zetsu, Ren, and Hatsu. After a month I learned and mastered Ten and Zetsu. 1. After that, it took me a few months to master Ren and Jio. After I did though I moved up to see what Hatsu I had and, I guess I'm an enhancer like Gon. 1. Year 2 and 3. During my second year with Gon and Killua, I learned things like KIAOKEN as well as how to put my aura into objects to increase the speed of using things. During my third year, I was taught Ryu and better focus on my Nen into one spot. I then learned how to use my speed to overpower opponents and I got far enough ahead Killua taught me how to use the rhythm step. Year 4 and 5. After that training Gon and Killua said I should learn to make my own technique that would fit me for my Nen. In the first month of my training, I decided that I wanted to learn how to enhance my speed and strength with my Nen as well as enhance my natural defenses since I'm well trained in strength and combat. For the rest of my fourth year, I learned what I call full cowling. I use my aura to enhance my body and power it up to the extreme at 100% use of my aura. My speed could take me from one end of Japan to the other in 3 minutes. 4. During my fifth year, I focused on learning basic attacks and how to hold back my percentage of power in Nen so I wouldn't cause too much damage as well as how to power up certain parts of my body higher than the rest. 1. End of training. These 5 years have been great and thanks to my brother Killua and Gon, I now can fight with Nen and have learned how to increase my strength tenfold. 1. As it was time to leave I said goodbye through tears as I had grown really close with them these last few years. I said thanks and that I will forever be in their debt for their kindness which Gon and Killua replied with just beat my dad's ass when I go home and I agreed. 4. Real world. Because of the neglect, Inko and Toshinori haven't found the letter yet from Izuku that he left 5 months ago, but then Mitsuki came over and asked how Izuku and Izumi were and they said that Izumi was doing fine and that they didn't know how Izuku was. 3. Then it dawned on both of the parents how bad of parents they were. Inko started crying stating, I've been a terrible mother, I don't even remember what Izuku has looked like since he was 4. Plus. Then Tashi started to go upstairs to Izuku's room to see how he was. Only to find an empty room that smelled of rotted blood and terrible wall damage and a note on his desk. Inko, come up here now, we have a serious problem about Izuku and Izumi, Toshinori calls. After they read the note and Mitsuki came and saw it, she hit both of them in the head and called them trash and that if they ever find the boy don't expect him to forgive them. Right afterward she went home and gave the beating of a lifetime to Kitsuki for his bullying. 13. When Izumi went home Tashi and Inko were both pissed at Izumi. She was shown the letter and was given a beating for bullying his brother and then acting like a saint in front of them. 7. Why, it's not like you cared about him for 10 years, she said. 16. And we have both accepted the punishment and have decided to look for him till we find him dead or alive, they responded. 2. They got the police on the phone and told them everything, including how they neglected their son for years. Detective Tsukauchi was pissed with them and decided to help them look and told them that they no longer held the right to call Izuku their child or be their parent. 8. Naruto and Sasuke. 20. Naruto and Sasuke told them about their world, the fourth great ninja war, and how chakra works. He told them the reason it's not found on your realm is that there is no divine tree, because if there was they would have had a connection to nature, giving birth to being able to manipulate the spiritual energy of chakra. In order to teach Izuku chakra, they both gave him a bit of both of their chakra. When this happened, they gave him the chakra testing paper to see what style he would use, and as it turns out he had a knack for wind and lighting style, but no Kekkei Genkai. With a mix of those two, however, he also had a full 3 Tomo Sharingan and a chakra pool almost as big as Naruto's. 8. Year 1. Naruto and Sasuke both teach Naruto basic jutsu, those being transformation jutsu, shadow clone jutsu, tried clone jutsu, but could never get it right, and summoning jutsu. He had made a contract with the Toads because the Toads actually wanted Izuku to call them, while the Snakes and Hawks didn't really want to do with Izuku. Izuku also managed to be able to summon Gamakichi and Gamakatsu, and they do listen to Izuku. He also learned how to fully use the 3 Tomo Sharingan to the best of its ability to dodge and counter. 21. Year 2 and 3. During the second year with Naruto and Sasuke, Izuku trained during this time with Sasuke and was given the EMS, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and was taught how to use the Susanoo to its greatest form. He was also taught how to use a sword and lightning, basic lightning style juts. 4. During the third year, he was taught how to use Chidori and Sasuke's ability to make it go through his sword or throughout the ground. He was also taught how to use the other abilities of his EMS, which were Kamui and Amaterasu. Finally, he learned from Sasuke how to control his Amaterasu using the fire control style that Sasuke uses. 1. Year 4 and 5. During his fourth year, Naruto taught Izuku the rest of the basics, walking on water, climbing trees, and so on. He was then taught the Rasengan from Naruto, which took him 3 months to master. He also learned the Gale Palm technique and he learned flying regime. 9. During his last year, Naruto had taught Izuku Sage Mode and his sexy jutsu. This took 10 months for him to learn, and time was almost up, but he decided to try and use Sage Jutsu and Susanoo at the same time, and at the very end of his 12 months he mastered it. 3. Goodbyes. 4. Izuku had said goodbye to Naruto and Sasuke, who were almost like fathers he never had to them. They both were great and he was really gonna miss them. 5. Right before he left, both Naruto and Sasuke had one last thing to tell him, and that was, when you go back, prove the world wrong. Real world. Officer Tsukauchi was still beyond mad at Toshinori and Inko for neglecting their son. He reminded All Might that he himself was once quirkless and should have made sure he was doing alright, since he has it worse than All Might, because even fewer people are quirkless now, so he had to bear worse pain than Toshinori did when he was Isuka's age. When UA found out the salaries of both heroes were cut in half and they were both suspended for 1 week to learn that they shouldn't disrespect their kid. It has now been 2.5 months and still no sign of the body, so the police are now wondering if it was not suicide and was him running away. They then concluded it was a runaway because there was nobody and their dead son meant they were dead to Izuku now. 1. Peter Parker and Tony Stark. Okay kid, I'm here to teach you how to make your own gadgets for your own good and how to understand how everything works, Stark said. Okay Mr. Stark, I replied. 2. And I'm here to help you after Mr. Stark's lecture and help you with chemistry so you can make your own compounds, Peter said. 3. Years 1 to 5. The whole time he was there, Stark and Peter lectured him on how the machinery works and how to make his own compounds with chemicals from Parker. By the time he was done, he had created a laser sword, pretty much a lightsaber just shaped into a sword shape instead, made his own compound of metal alloy for a capture gear shaped like a cape that could extend to 50 meters and was stronger than Eraserhead's, and his own hero costume. Not my picture. Doesn't have a helmet, just has his mouth guard thing like in the anime. Manga also has a green cape on the back, capture weapon. 23. Time to go back. After his goodbyes with Stark and Peter, he is brought back up to the glass pillar where he met all 8 of them and had the best 20 years of his life. 1. Now before we go back, I have some gifts for you from each of your mentors plus a one from me, King stated. Really? I asked. He replied, yes, now from Light you were given the pen that he used at the start of his journey, from L you were given a new name, Izuku Lunar. 8. At this Izuku began to cry, he was so happy he didn't have to be known by his abusive family now. After Izuku recovered, King continued, from Gon, you were given a ring from Greed Island, from Killua you were given a hunter's license from their world, from Naruto, he gave you a ninja headband, and Sasuke gave you a sword made of chakra metal, Asuma's hand kunai's metal. From Peter, you were given a box of bracelets that will let you communicate with anyone whose bracelet you're wearing, however you can only use one once per day. And finally Mr. Stark gave you a mansion not far out from Musatafu, Japan on the cliffside with a Lamborghini Aventador, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, all paid off with a driver's license for you. 42. After hearing all this he was so thankful and asked the king if he would give them all a letter that he wrote to each of them personally thanking them, and the king agreed. Now Izuku, I am sorry for everything that you were put through as a child, and now I would like to give you a quirk. This quirk will allow you to heal from the brink of death in seconds, and heal others from the brink of death in seconds. The drawback is that the bigger the injury, the longer the wait. Life-threatening can use once every 48 hours, life-threatening, but not brink of death every 24 hours, severe damage non-life-threatening every 18 hours, a broken bone or two every 20 minutes. And finally minor damage no wait, also you will be given a debit card that will deposit 1 million yen into its account on the first of every month, and all the bills will be paid without using the money deposited to your account that will be covered by yours truly, King states. 24. Izuku just stares at King not believing a word he says, then responds thanking him for 30 minutes straight for everything, and that he doesn't deserve this. Just one favor though, King says interrupting Izuku, kick All Might's ass. 20. Gladly. I have been dropped off at my new house thanks to Mr. Stark. The drive from here to Musatafu is about 10 minutes and it's a 30-minute drive to UA. But this is just how I like it, isolated, so I don't have to worry about other people, my family, ruin it. I submitted my registration to UA the day I got here and the exam is in 3 days. I wrote down my actual quirk not telling them about my Nenner chakra yet. 8. I took my Lambo and decided to hit up Uncle Shoto to tell him how I was doing. I was unaware of the search going on for me, so I figured my parents still didn't know I was missing. 3. Time skip Uncle Shoto's apartment. I rung the doorbell and knocked on the door and waited for a bit. He should be awake now, it's 12 p.m, he usually gets up around 11, so I should be good I think. When the door opens his eyes widen for a sec. I say, hey Uncle SH. I was cut off by a hug. You know you've been missing for 5 months now, right? He asks. 2. I reply, actually it's been 10 months, they just didn't notice till 5 months ago. Those damn bastards, how do they not know their kid has been missing for months? 2. As always Pav. I just finished getting ready for the day and had breakfast when I heard someone at the door. I opened it to find my nephew who's been missing for 5 months right in front of me. As soon as I hear him say hi I knew it was him and gave him a big hug. When I told him he was missing for 5 months he said it was 10, but they didn't know until 5 months later. At which point I was pissed, how did they not notice one of their children missing for 5 months? I then invited him inside and we got talking and he told me how he went and trained for 20 years in a different world that was only 10 months in this one, meaning that 2 years on that planet was 1 month here, 365 days is 15 days there. 2. So kid, where are you staying now? I ask. Oh, want me to show you, he says. Sure, I need to get out of here sooner or later. Great, well then text Midnight and Nezu and Mick to meet at this address and I'll take you there in my ride. What ride? I ask, confused as to what he meant. He pulls out Lamborghini car keys and then a license to drive and takes me to see this beauty of a car and he unlocks it and says to hop in the passenger seat. I hop in and ask where he got the money and he said it was a gift from Mr. Stark. After about 20 minutes we have been outside of Musatafu for about 10 minutes, he pulls into a secluded road and drives in to see his massive house. God damn, I say. I know it's too much, but it is better than living with my parents. So are you planning on signing up for UA? Already did. But I didn't see your name. Alright, I forgot I legally changed my name to Izuku Lunar. Oh, I did see that one, so you have a healing quirk. That is my only quirk, yes. Good luck against those robots. Those won't be a problem. How? Chakra, Nen. 3. The what and what, I ask. You'll find out on Tuesday when we take the practical exam. Just then Midnight, Nezu and Mick pull up to the house, not sure if it's the right one. Izuku asked, you mind bringing them in, I want to surprise them. Sure, I replied. Just bring them to the dining hall, he calls out. Okay, I reply. Hey Namuri, Nezu, Hisashi, I call out to them and call them inside. Whoa dude, didn't know you were loaded, Hisashi says. Aren't you an underground hero? Midnight asks. With your current wages, there should be no way you got enough for the Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, and the house, Nezu remarks. No, this isn't mine, it's a friend of mine's, I say. Whoa, that's hot, Midnight says. He's underage, I reply. 33. Then how'd they score this, Hisashi asks. Plus. I don't know, ask him yourself, I reply. Now let's get going, he's waiting in the dining room. Izuku Lunar, I've got the guests, I say. Great. Now why does that voice sound familiar? Hisashi asks. No way, says Midnight. Then all four of them walk in and see Izuku sitting making some tea. They blink a few times and rub their eyes to make sure it's not a dream. 2. Well, sit down, I'll bring you all some tea. Where have you been the past 5 months, Nezu asks. 10 and I'll tell you over tea, that's why I ask you guys to come, Izuku replies. I had the same reaction when he came to my apartment, I said. Wait, how long have you known, asks Midnight. I knew 32 minutes 15 seconds before I texted you to meet at his place, I respond. Wait, you said 10 months, Izuku, why, Nezu asked. I ran away 10 months ago, but my parents didn't notice till 5 months ago, that's how badly they neglected me. Izashi, Nezu and Midnight all choke on the tea. 7. Wait, what, they all respond. Alright, I'm about to tell you a long story that starts 10 months ago and 2 weeks earlier in this dimension. After explaining the past 2 chapters. 5. Izuku's POV. So that's my story, Izuku said. So wait, you haven't seen us in over 21 years, Midnight asks. Yup. So will you explain this whole chakra and nen thing? Nezu starts, because it seems interesting. Yes, however he'll do that after the entrance exam, as I'll reply. But submission time ended, Hisashi said. And I already put my form in. But I never saw it, Nezu states. You didn't see an Izuku Lunar. I saw that one, all three replied. Then you saw me, I said, before you say anything just look at this. I handed over the legal name change papers and it had all the requirements. They were all in shock that I changed my last name. How did you pull it off, they all asked. Again, it was a gift from one of my senseis, I reply. Oh, Hisashi replies. Is there any other changes we should be aware of? Nezu asks. 2 more things that you should be aware of, and it's this, I said, pulling out my driver's license, and I also already have a college level of skill in English, maths, science, and history. Another curveball, Midnight says. Indeed, replies Nezu. Well, I guess then we'll be off, Nezu states. Before you go, promise you won't tell Mr. and Mrs. Yagi, I ask. Deal, they all say. Alright kid, I guess I gotta go too, as always says. Okay, here he throws me the Lambo keys. You can use it till Tuesday, I say. 8. Time skip entrance exam. I got here and I must admit I was a bit disappointed at how easy the written exam was. I finished in 10 minutes and checked for the next minute before turning in my packet and walked out as Izawa was walking in. Shouldn't you be examining? He asked. I finished, I replied. Oh okay, Izawa nods and goes to work. 14. Time skip to present mix interruption. I have a question, sir, a blue-haired kid states on the packet it says there are 4 robots left and on the screen, it says there are only 3. Also, the green-haired boy in the back, why are you sleeping now? If you are here to screw around then you should leave. I was pissed, so I replied, if you read the goddamn packet you would have noticed it is a 0-pointer and is just an obstacle, no need to fight it, and Uncle Mick was just about to explain that. Also, if you have enough time to check if I'm asleep or not, then you are also not paying attention, so take that stick up your ass out and sit down. 1. He instantly sat down in shame and embarrassment, knowing the kid was full well telling the truth. 4. After President Mick explained the 0-pointers again, we were moved to city blocks. I was put in block C. I saw the blue-haired boy in my group, but also my lovely sister. 5. Shit, I muttered. Just then I saw the door open, and I immediately start crushing robots. After 10 minutes I decide to stop, knowing full well I got in with 207 villain points. After another hour of chilling I heard a rumble and saw the 0-pointers heading into the mock city, and I wasn't gonna do anything, but then I saw someone trapped underneath the rubble, and the 0-pointers were about to crush her. And everyone else was just running away, so I jumped up and Sage mode massive Rasengan barraged the robot till all that was left was scraps of wire from the robot that didn't get destroyed. 2 days later I got a letter from UA, and it had All Might on it, and he said, "Congrats young Lunar on passing the exams. Your total points were 257, getting 50 points for your heroic practice to save the girl in danger. The heroic points you got were a secret point system given by judges for heroic actions during the exams." 5. So I got in. What else is new, I thought. 3. The next few days before UA started were uneventful. I got up, explored the city, or went shopping for clothes, and went home. Alright, time to head to school. I took the keys to the Rolls-Royce and headed to school. When I went to the parking lot I got a lot of stares from the students and teachers. Then out of nowhere one student started chanting, then the rest of the students joined chanting. "Daddy's money, clap 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 calp," they said, X5. 11. My dad neglected and didn't know I ran away till 5 months after my disappearance, so no, this is not his money, and my mom did the same, I said. 1. Liar, the original figure said. I teleported behind him. My name is Izuku Lunar X, known as Izuku Yagi, do you believe me now? Look at the missing person file when you can. I'll be in class 1 by the way. That's a nice quirk, I'll just use it myself, he started. My name's Nito Monoma. Wait, you have a healing quirk, so how'd you teleport? I didn't. But then how you don't have a speed quirk? Training. Whatever, I'll still be better than you, class 1 a scum. 3. When I went inside I headed to my class, or at least I thought I did. Turns out the school is even bigger than it looks. And the school is at least 5 times bigger than my estate. I ended up in class 3 instead of 1A, and there I met 3 kids who were friends but had completely different personalities. One was antisocial, one had no filter and would rapid fire questions, and one would just try and crack jokes and have a fun conversation. I later learned they were the top 3 students in UA so far. The antisocial one was named Tamaki Amajiki, the no-filter girl was named Najire Hado, and the jokester was named Mirio Tagada. They showed me how to get to class, and right before I walked in I heard, "Shut up, 4 eyes. That is very disrespectful to this school, so take your feet off the desk." I opened the door, immediately recognizing those 2 as Bakugo and the blue-haired kid from the exam. I looked around and saw the girl I rescued, and finally, I saw a girl with a ponytail and onyx eyes with a bang off the side of her hair. She looked familiar, but I don't remember why. She spotted me and started to stare at me in confusion as well. Then I saw my sister. I looked away immediately after seeing her. I was starting to head to my seat, but then the blue-haired kid walked up to me. He started, "Hello, my name is Tenya Ida. I'm sorry for my behavior at the entrance exam. I didn't even notice that there might be a secret part of the exam, but you figure." "No, I didn't know about that part of the exam. I just saw someone who needed help and helped them," I said. I walked away and sat down near the back next to the girl that looked familiar. Izuku took Todoroki's seat, Todoroki took Mineta's seat, and Izumi took Midoriya's seat. Mineta didn't get in the "Say you, do I know you?" I asked the girl. "You look familiar, but I don't think I've met you, but then again I was away from this world for 20 years. "You look familiar." "Wait, what do you mean 20 years? You couldn't have gotten in here if you're over the age of 18. She said. "Oh, you sorry, I went to a pocket dimension where 20 years in that world is 10 months in this world. I was taken via villain BT then." "Do. Hey, you calling me a villain, kid?" King said. 3. "Wait, how'd you get here?" "Would never mind your Gutsugasio Kinguni where muttering intensifies." Slap. "Kid, you gotta watch your muttering," King said. "Wait, what do you mean God?" the girl said, "and what do you mean villain?" "And nothing," I said. But that King disappeared, sending her into chaos. She looked so confused, trying to figure everything out while still acting prim and proper. "Wait, no, it couldn't be. Momo." "Wait, is your name Momo Yarozu?" I asked. "Yes, wait, how do you know?" she asked. "Sorry, let me reintroduce myself. The name is Izuku Lunar. I was there the day Bakugo was harassing you, and I stopped him by being his punching bag." "No way, it's you," she said. "Yup," I said. Just then Bakugo looked at the class buying out the competition. Then looked back at me, then heard what I said. "Bekuuu, he said. Izumi turned her head. "What do you want, Bakugo?" I reply. "How the fuck did a quirkless bitch such as yourself get in?" "Do." With this, the whole class started looking at me weirdly, except for the girl I saved and Momo. Then the whole class started to ask questions. "Rasengan," I say, "do I look quirkless? Bakugo, I know it's been 20 years, but still." "Wait, 20 years, the class exclaimed. "Sorry, I meant 10 months, but it's been 20 years for me." I start. "Also Bakugo, you couldn't even lift my weights 20 years ago. What makes you think you can lift mine now?" 3. "I can do it," he said. "No. No, you can't. Back then I was wearing 12 tons on each wrist and ankle and 15 tons on my vest. Now I'm wearing 45 tons on each wrist and ankle and 52 tons on my vest. In fact, right now I'm moving my feet so fast the floor can't realize the weight I'm wearing, so I don't fall through the floor." 5. "Show off. You started it." The whole class looks in awe at me, realizing how much weight I'm wearing. They then realized how fast I must be moving to stop from falling through the floor. "So manly, you'll have to tell me how you train," a student says. "Oh, my name is Ejiro Kirishima. Isn't it illegal to use your quirk in public?" Ida asks. "I haven't shown anyone my quirk. My quirk is Heal Pulse. It lets me instantaneously heal someone, even if they're on the brink of death. The drawback is the more serious the injury, the longer the cooldown," I state. "Do. So then what was that orb you made?" a blonde asked. "My name is Denki Kaminari." 8. "That was the energy I pulled from myself to create that orb as you called it. Well, actually it's actually called a Rasengan, but anyways, I can also use the electrical energy here and wind energy and combine it with my own to create other moves," I state, "and no, that is not a quirk." Just then Izumi manages to snap out of her confusion. She starts to look depressed. "It's funny really." Then she manages to speak up. "Is that really you, BB brother?" she cries. "Yagi, I'm not your brother. I have not been for over 20 years," I reply. 1. "No." she wails. 3. Oh Deku, look what you did to your sister, she's crying now. Bakugo attacks me. 6. Does a sister bully her brother? Huh? Does a best friend? Does a sister tell you to commit suicide? Does a sister make your life a living hell? Well. Oh, and what about parents? Do they neglect you for 10.5 because of a disadvantage? Do parents whoop you for eating food in the fridge cause you weren't allowed to eat dinner with them? Do parents make you eat out of the dumpster? Silence, you're silent now. At this revelation, they all look at Izumi and Bakugo with disgust. They then ask if I'm okay and then introduce themselves. I reply that it was a lifetime ago so I'm doing just fine. While they're surrounding me, Bakugo and Izumi just hang their heads in defeat. They might feel bad about what they did now. I doubt they will after a week. 1. Just then Todoroki asked, wait, what did you mean 20 years ago? 2. Yay? The rest of them ask. 2. I then explain how 10 months ago I ran away and found a man who was named King. He brought me to a pocket dimension from his quirk and there he and him alone trained me for 20 years because 2 years in that dimension is 1 month in the real world. 4. So in the past 10 months, you had 20 years of training? Kirishima asks. Yup, I reply, but before you say that's unfair, just know I thought I was quirkless before him and then we found out I had one, but before I was bullied, abused, neglected, and tortured, all this while training to be the first quirkless hero. When I left I could max lift 20 tons and ran 50 kilometers in 1 hour. I was also capable of doing 1000 push-ups in 2 minutes. And that's why I could go because I was able to push myself farther than any quirk hero. 2. Nah, I wouldn't say it's unfair, but damn, I need you to train me. I can barely bench 300 pounds and that's with my hardening, Kirishima replies. 7. At this Aizawa sensei entered the room and was in a sleeping bag scaring some of the students. If you're here to make friends then you should leave, Aizawa states. It took you 8 seconds to shut up, we need to work on that, Aizawa sensei says. Really, Uncle Sho, do you have to be so mean? I ask. Yes, now you really need to be quiet, he replied. One thing first, how was my Lambo? Was it to your liking? I know you've always wanted to try out a sports car, I say. It was fun, now shut up or I'll expel you. 12. Good, now everyone put on these and meet me outside for your quirk assessment exam, Uncle Shouta said. But what about orientation? Uraraka asks. To have our hero course we remove parts of the school program that are deemed unnecessary, therefore you will be missing orientation, Aizawa explains. In the locker rooms. The Olin Arbor, you're ripped, A's Kirishima. Yeah, how the hell did you manage to get a 08 pack at age 14? Kaminari asks. 7. Again, each of my wrists and ankles has 45 tons or 90,000 pounds on each leg, as well as my vest that I'm holding has 104,000 pounds of weight, I say. Oh yeah, they both sigh. On the other side, the girls all heard about Izuku's 8-pack and immediately started blushing. Just thinking about the green mop had them all their faces hot. After realizing what they were all doing they immediately began rushing and got ready to see all the boys outside waiting. Now that you're all here, let's get started, Aizawa states. While this was going down, Telek and All Might began to head out to Aizawa's practice field to see the lunar kid, see what he did to get such a high amount of points. When they arrived, a green-haired kid walked up to a circle for the ball throw. I then asked, can I do 2 throws, 1 quirkless, 1 with my abilities? Fine, but your first throw is quirkless, Aizawa replied. Both Inko and Toshinori, confused, was wondering why a kid wanted to throw the ball quirkless but was ready to watch anyway. Okay, but first I'm taking these off, I say. Boom. 3. There was a crater around each of his weights when he placed them all on the ground. You have to show off. Bakugo asks. I didn't mean to make the craters, I forgot how weak the ground is, it's not my fault they're 45 tons each, I reply. 2. Young man, you realize it is illegal to use your quirk unless specifically allowed or until you get a license, All Might says. 6. No way, All Might, everyone but Bakugo, Izumi, and I say. Mr. Yagi, if you looked at my registration form then you would know my quirk is an A-ranked healing quirk, not a strength quirk. Also, if it was a quirk, then Aizawa here would have erased it when he told us all to shut up, erasing all our quirks, I reply. Well, young man, how do you know my real name? All Might asks. How could I forget the man who was my father from ages 0 to 4, I state. My baby, Telek cries. I haven't been your son in 30 years, I say, dodging her hug. 6. How dare you treat your mother that way, All Might says. You stopped being my parents when you wouldn't let me eat with you all and made me buy everything for myself except for the bills for the house and that come with the house, I say. My baby, where have you been the past 5 months, Telek cries. I left that hellhole 10 months ago, but clearly you don't care. If it took you half the time I was gone to realize that just proves that you don't care. I coldly reply. Izuku, you will return with us after school today. All Might. 1. Shut up and deflate already, Mr. Yagi. I'm not your son. I've legally changed my name, I legally own my own estate, and I legally can drive my car as in the parking lot, I say, pulling out my keys and license and toss them to him to inspect. You lie, you are not rich enough to own a Rolls-Royce car, All Might says. 3. That was a gift from someone more of a dad than yo, his name was Mr. Stark, I reply. 3. Also, my son, how did you get a license? You're not supposed to be able to start learning till you're 18, he claims. 9. For your information, could be technically be considered 35 years old. I was training in a pocket dimension where 2 years in that world is 1 month in this world, I say. Also, you keep trying to call me your son, yet you couldn't even recognize me till I told you who I was, so how's that for irony? I will never be your son again, Ass Might. 4. The whole class sneered at the two, realizing the truth behind Izuku's words. All Might, tell it shut up or leave, you're interrupting my class, as Awa intervenes. DSK. Fine, All Might mutters. All right, now for my quirkless throw, I say, throwing the ball. Infinity, the device says. Well, looks like I won't need to use my quirk, I say. 10. After my demo, E started doing all the activities again. In the grip test, broke the machine without using Nen or Chakra. For the 50-meter dash, got the top score of .012 seconds without any help. In the repeated side steps I got 80,000 steps. In the long jump, won again, getting 2 km. The sit-ups I got 3,000 before being told to stop. 2. Eck. Now it was time for the real ball throw, and I was up. The current best was Achako Uraraka, who got infinity. I was about to throw the ball when Izawa said, throw it without holding back or you're expelled. I can't, I replied. And why not? I pointed to UA, I don't want to level the school, possibly killing and most definitely injuring some of the students. A right nerd like you could do that, the school is over 5 km away, he said. I thought it was farther, I replied. What do you mean? Izawa asks. When I go all out with 100% of all my powers, I create a crater usually about 10 kilometers deep and 50 kilometers in diameter on average. My biggest though was made 12 kilometers deep and 62 kilometers wide, I explain. Okay, then hold back so you won't break or injure anyone, but go out enough to the point where it almost happens, he replies. 5. Fine if you really want to, but if I do then go back with the students so I can make the biggest possible boom, I say. He grins and walks away. All Might thought I was bluffing and decided to walk up and watch from where Izawa would have been. You know I don't care enough about you to hold back, so if you stand there and get hurt, it's not my fault, All Might, I say without looking back. Like you could, he replies. Your funeral, I said. I throw the ball with a full cowl of 1% and I create sonic booms as well as break the speed of light barrier. When I look around, there is a crater that stopped at the edge of the nearest student's foot tips a millimeter more and I would have destroyed his shoes. After about 3 minutes, when everyone but All Might recovered, they looked in awe as I was in a hole about 10 meters deep, and then they looked and say that if it had gone, even their shoes would have been caught in the mess. 2. I told you, Ass Might, I say. He deflates and coughs, then said how? And how much did you hold back? I used 1% of my Nen 0 chakra and 100% of my quirkless strength, I reply. That much, huh? Maybe you actually could have leveled UA with full strength. Yeah, that's not a question. What is though is if I would have obliterated the glass into atoms again or not, I reply. Okay, problem child, now let me bring up the results, as Awa says while sliding down the crater. The class follows but Kaminari, Jiru, Hagakure, and Momo trip. I jumped up and caught them all, throwing Kaminari and Hagakure on my shoulders and carried Jiru and Momo bridal style down to the ground. Sorry for being so rough, but that would have been better than rolling down the hard uneven rock surface, I apologize to them. The girls blush, it's okay. Kaminari exclaims, thanks bro, I thought I was dead. Show off, Bakugo mutters. I wasn't showing off, I just didn't want to have to heal 4 people for something I caused, I replied, staring at Bakugo. Then Izawa pulls up the leaderboard and it looks like this. 1. Izuku Lunar. 2. Momo Yarozu. 3. Shoto Todoroki. 4. Katsuki Bakugo. 6. 5. Izumi Yagi. 1. 20. Tor Hagakure. 6. Ooh, Tor wails. It's okay, don't let this stop you, make this an opportunity to learn and become a great hero, I tell her. Thanks, she replies with tears. Oh, also that whole thing about the expulsion was fake, as Awa said. You didn't notice I show Momo started. Momo, he wasn't lying, he expelled a whole class before because he didn't see any potential in the I cut her off. 1. This evidently rattled her. She was so sure that it would be a hoax. After another second she realized that if she had failed then she could be on her way home right now. Before you start hyperventilating, just know that even though it's hard for him to approve of your strength, he does highly consider potential, and that is why he didn't expel Hagakure. Also, you were right to assume it's a hoax. After working so hard, I was sure at least a few more would have thought it to be a hoax, I reply. Okay, she replied. Will student Izuku Lunar of class 1 a report to Principal Nezu's office, the system blared. Well, that's my cue, I say. Why would Nezu need to speak with you? Kirishima asked. It would probably have to do with me getting a 100% on the written exam in 11 minutes out of the 2.5 hours given, I said while jogging to the building and putting back on my weights. Wait. What, the whole class screamed. It took me almost 2 hours, and I barely got a 98%. Momo thought, and I got the second highest rating in our class in terms of speed for completion as well as accuracy. 3. Nezu's office. So what did you call me in for? I asked Nezu. I want you to become my personal student, Nezu stated proudly. 4. Okay, what will I do? I'm intrigued, I asked. 2. Well, with this you will be working overtime, and I will be helping you get a license to help train your fellow students, as well as learn what the support course is learning to get licensed to help build stuff, he said. 6. Okay. But why the support course as well? I asked. Well, originally I would do a doctor, but you told me how you made your own suit, so I swapped that out with an engineering license, he replied. 3. I'm in, I said. Really that fast? He asked. You realize you will have a ton more homework and a lot less training time. Okay, here's the thing, I'm above the grad level in all 4 core subjects, and I am probably one of the best strategists to walk these halls, I say. Okay, you seem ready, let's roll, he says. 6. And with that my first day at UA was finished. The rest of the week seemed to be going by as smoothly as it really could. I still had to deal with All Might, Telek, and Izumi always begging for me to come back. Especially during the second day, I and Momo won the battle against Bakugo and Todoroki, our opponents, and still won the fastest of any other team. 1. The day was Friday and now it was time for homeroom before our subject classes. As soon as we walked in I could tell something was up as Aizawa was already there waiting when he's usually late by a few seconds. 2 things first is we need a class rep, Aizawa started. The ain't normal school stuff, the class yelled. Quiet down. I wasn't done. After you choose who our class rep, you should all get ready because on Monday we will be going on a field trip to the UA Unforeseen Simulation Joint, also known as the USJ. Aizawa finished. All of a sudden the whole class started offering themselves up for representative. The only people who didn't want to run for class rep were Yagi and Todoroki. The whole class was in a panic till Iida stood up. Iida said, how about we put this up to a vote? Then Asui responded, but then wouldn't everyone vote for themselves? Well then whoever doesn't vote for themselves must really deserve it, Iida responded. I chose Momo, then turned in my slip. Slowly the rest of the class voted and after 5 minutes everyone had voted. Iida went up and tallied the votes with Asui and Todoroki checking to make sure he wasn't changing the votes. After all the tallying was done the board had 11 people with no votes. 1. Vote totals. Izuku. 8. Plus. Momo. 3. Iida. 2. Bakugo. 1. 7. Kirishima. 1. Mina. 1. Kaminari. 1. Kiru. 1. Aoyama. 1. Alright, who voted for the nerd? Bakugo screamed. 3. Immediately Momo's hand, Iida's hand, Uraraka's hand, Asui's hand, and Todoroki's hand came up. After a few seconds, Koda and Shoji's hands went up. Then seeing that Yagi weakly put her hand up. Wait, you didn't vote for yourself? Momo asked. No, Momo, I voted for you, I started. Also, is it okay that I still call you that? I know you said I could call you that when we were 4, but I was just wondering. Sure, but then I'm going to continue calling you Izuku, Momo replied. Deal. After that, I realized that Iida was slightly down because he wanted to get a class rep position badly as well. I walked over to him and tried to cheer him up, but to no avail. Now for your speeches, Ishido stated. I'll pass, I sighed. Speech, the class said minus Bakugo. Fine, I said, alright, I have no idea why you would vote me for class president, I don't think I deserve such high respects, but I will try my best to make you all proud. Short and sweet, I like it, Hagakure said. 3. After I walked down to my seat, Momo began her whole speech about how she will do her best and thanks, how she will try her best to make this the best class she can, and a whole bunch more. After 5 minutes she finally finished and sat down. Kaminari was full of stupid mode from smartness overload as he called it. Well, the rest of the class just applauded her, not really knowing what else to do. Lunar, Yaozu, I will need to speak to you after class about your duties and all that nonsense, Aizawa said out of nowhere. Okay, we replied. The rest of the class was nothing special. It was easy and I did my homework before class was even started. After our last class, which was math, was over, I headed over to Izawa's office with Momo to see what he needed us for. When we walked in, he was in his sleeping bag but was clearly waiting for us. 3. You took 3 minutes and 22 seconds to get here. That's too long. I don't care if your class is far away. Next time make it 2 minutes and 50 seconds or you're expelled, Izawa states. 8. Okay, sir, Momo replied. Now, as for what I called you here for, he started, you will need to make a file on all the class's personalities, quirks, strengths, and potential weaknesses, if possible on all the students, due Monday when school starts. 4. Okay, I say. Do you need anything? If not, leave, there's nothing more for you here, as always said. Right after we left, Momo and I exchanged phone numbers and had planned to meet tomorrow on Saturday at a cafe I knew. And she began to walk out of school. Realizing that I wasn't following her, she turned around. Where are you going, Izuku? She asked. Me? Oh, that's easy, I'm going to the support course classroom for my intermediate classes, I reply. For what? Momo asked. Well, you know how I'm Nezu's student. Well, that entitles more than personal studies with him. I'm also being taught so I can get my supporter's license and my teaching license. In order to get my teaching license, I need to first get my provisional license. That means that I usually stay till about 6 o'clock just to get ready. Note, school ends at 2 o'clock for them. 1. Wait, why do you need to get those licenses? Besides, you also have to worry about our hero training and studies as well. She asks. Hero training yes, studies no, I reply. Why not studies? She ponders. Because you know how I turned a huge pile of stuff in before all of our classes today. I start, well, that's our homework and classwork for this term and next term. But we haven't gone over any of that material. I went through high school classes for university during my first year in middle school, I say. But why? I mean, I'm usually trying to stay a week ahead, that way I have extra practice and usually get 100s in classes, but I don't go years ahead. Because I wanted my biological parents to notice me, but that didn't work, and clearly working out wasn't either, so around then is when I stopped fighting for their attention. You know, the more I find out about your family, the more I start to hate them. They aren't my family, and now I live in more comfort and riches than both of them. Okay, if you say so. Not wanting to talk anymore, I said my goodbyes and headed for the support room. Little did I know that Momo never left. Instead, she was following me and seeing if I was telling the truth. To her surprise, all of it was true about his extra work. However, what she wasn't told was that today he was getting his support license. Momo Pav. And it was the 5th day of school, and he didn't start till the 2nd day of school. He passed with flying colors and left and was extra happy. For some reason she would confront him on Monday for what, but then she heard that he could now legally wear his costume when they were allowed to by UA. I was so confused I came out of my hiding place unintentionally to ask him, but by the time I realized what I was doing it was too late. I was found out by Izuku. What are you doing here, Momo? He asked. Well, I didn't fully believe you, so I followed you, and when I heard about your costume I was so confused, and then I remember that you didn't wear it on our 2nd day when we were supposed to. I unconsciously left my hiding spot to confront you about it, I replied. Oh, is that it? Well, I couldn't wear my costume legally on Tuesday, so I had to go in my gym clothes. Why couldn't you wear it? Because I built it, but now that I have my license I can now wear it when we go to the USJ. Wait, what? I just stared in complete shock. After a few minutes, Power Loader said, I think you broke her, Mr. Lunar. Oh no, he replied before trying to snap me out of it. After a few more seconds I finally did snap out of it before asking, wait, why did you call one of the students Mr. Lunar? Easy, because he now has his license, and so now he is on the level of a graduate of the UA support course, because they only get their license on their 3rd year at the end of the year, after creating hundreds of successful inventions and over 10,000 thousands of failed creations, he replied. 12. Now I have to take my provisional license exam on Wednesday next week so I can start learning to be a teacher, Izuku said. 4. What the actual hell? First years barely ever take the exam, but no student takes the exam after 1.5 weeks, I state in concern. 6. Well, sure, but I've gone through about a year of hero training since I started with Nezu, plus I really don't think I'll need to use my nen, much less my chakra against the trainees, he states. Well, you know what, I've always been wondering what is this nen. Stand back and I'll give you an example, then explain. I walk back 10 steps and he then nods, and instantly there is snaps of electricity going around his body. I stare in awe of how he is just standing there. Then in a blink of an eye he is behind me and I feel a push from behind. It hurts, but when I turn around I see an almost aura-like thing surrounding Izuku. What was that for? But also, what is that steam? I ask. Well, I pushed you so you could see my nen by activating all your nodes in your body. If you look at yourself, you will now begin to see a huge aura rushing from you. I need to hurry this explanation, but I need you to imagine the steam slowly surrounding your body like a steady flow of a river, gently moving around your body. When you have that image in your head, open your eyes again, Izuku says. I do as told, then see that there is a small whitish aura around me. I'm completely fascinated and I walk up to Izuku. BT, I'm a bit faster for some reason, not much, but still faster. I also feel like I have a bit more defensive capabilities for no reason. What is this? I ask. That is 10, the most important part of Nen, he responds. Okay, why is it the most important part? I ask. First, just imagine not letting the aura out and that it is just sitting there idle, he responds. Okay. When I do, I feel normal. As if nothing happened to me. I was really worried for a sec. I was wondering if I could ever get that back. Stop worrying and look at me, Izuku says. Okay. This aura is still there. I don't know how I can see it since I couldn't before I was pushed and had my own aura. How can I still see your aura? What the hell are you two talking about? Power Loader intervenes. Oh, you sorry, sir, but I can't really explain. I can say though that what you saw me doing with the electric snaps was one of the 2 non-quirks abilities called Nen. I also want to thank you for everything you have done. He turned his head to me. I'll explain more in a sec, but for now follow me. I followed him and he took me to his car. He asked me to go in, and when I asked why, he said he was taking me to his house to tell me about the whole aura mess. I reluctantly agreed because I knew he would never try to do anything bad to me, so I felt safe with him. I'm Skip, pulling up to Izuku's estate. 1. Silmomo's Pav. Out of nowhere we took a turn into a small road that was about 10 minutes outside of the city. After a few more seconds we turned in and I saw the house. It was a lot bigger than I had expected. In fact, I was still in awe that a runway, no matter how much it was justified, would be this financially stable. Are you sure this is the place? I ask. Yeah, honestly, Mr. Stark set me off too well, Izuku says. Who is Mr. Stark? I ask. Should I said too much? He's of no concern, Izuku said. Okay, if you say so. Afterwards we went in and I was truly surprised how neat and tidy his house was. He lived alone, yet there wasn't a speck of dirt anywhere to be seen. I'm sorry for how dirty the house is. I wasn't expecting to bring in visitors today, Izuku said. Wait, this is dirty? Oh my god, my house has never been this clean. Yeah, I haven't cleaned up in the past few days, so I really need to get working on that. Honestly, if it was any more clean I would think I was in heaven. Yeah, I guess, but I don't know what God would say to that. Suddenly someone appeared beside Izuku. He looked familiar. After looking for a sec, he was the person that was there the first day. He was a strange person indeed. I didn't know you had a roommate, I said. Ignoring me, Izuku looked at him and said, man, look, she's here now. I gotta explain this too. Besides, I thought you were working with the angels and was in a meeting right now. Wait, angels? What are you talking about? 1. Oh crap, I forgot you are in earshot. Well, I guess there's nothing I can do about it now, Izuku sighed. This here is God. He goes by King when he's on Earth. What I was talking about was his meeting with the angels to see the status of Earth and making sure the Earth was still stable for us to be tried. Okay, stop lying like this, man. Here is God. Maya. You did it, didn't you? Izuku said. Yes, I showed her just like I showed you, King said. 1. Well, that saves me time. So you really are God, she said, completely shocked. Yes, and you must never talk about this unless you are with Izuku and are here in this house, otherwise we could have a whole catastrophe on our hands, and that would end up with an extinction event, wiping out almost everyone like Noah and his ark again. King said. Okay, wait, can I at least tell my parents? Nope, both Izuku and King replied. Sorry for dragging you into this. I should have remembered I can't say the word God in my house without this man appearing, Izuku says. It's okay, just a lot to process, I reply. That's what he said when I showed him my true identity, King said. We're getting off topic, Izuku starts. I'm going to tell you all about my Nen. You are the first person and probably one of the very few I will ever tell, and I'm only telling you because you have a pure hero's heart like Iida, but won't do anything stupid like he would. What do you mean pure hero's heart? I ask. I mean you're not trying to be a hero for fame, money, or popularity. Okay, I guess. Now follow me outside. After he said that, King, or should I saw God, disappeared. I'm still baffled but snap out of it and followed Izuku. We walked to his backyard, which was beautiful. The lawn was neatly trimmed and had a huge fountain in the center and had a perfectly trimmed hedges along the walls with trees surrounding the landscape. Izuku then had us walk through parts of the trees, then brought us to an open rock clearing. Alright, here is where I will explain, Izuku states. I'm all ears, I say. Spoiler warning for animes, you've been warned. Just then grabbed 2 bracelets and then began talking. I told you that I was brought to a pocket dimension. Yeah, that was a lie. I was brought to a temporary world that had 8 people from different worlds or the afterlife train me. The first 5 years I was taught by the ex-Deathnet holder Light Yagami and the strategist hunting Light L. Light had found this book where if he writes a person's name, they would die in 40 seconds after their name while thinking of their face was written. Unless the cause of death is written, the writer then has 6 minutes and 40 seconds to write how and when they die. L was the first head to hunt Light. Light had to pass on the notebook many times in order to fool everyone, but L however, since everyone else is convinced, he eventually beat and killed L however. L was so close to proving him that the 2 people replacing him finished up all the evidence and reasoning and killed Light. He clearly waited a few moments for me to process and ask any questions I had. This was so weird. He met 2 dead people from another world. Any questions so far? He asked. What did they teach you? I mean, it's not like you have a death note right? I ask. Spoiler warning, and no, you didn't miss anything. I don't have a Deathnet. Light taught me how to flip the script and hunt the hunter while still acting like prey, how to set up hundreds of false trails with one move, and how to make basic and complex traps. L taught me how to see through all the fake leads, how to assess how many culprits there are, and how to know if someone else has joined the game before they do. Izuku answered. Oh, so that's why you always seem to know what to do during combat training. Yup, he said. Now I guess you made me skip over the rest as to why I was trained by them. Next, I was taught by 2 professional hunters in the art of Nen. Their names were Gon and Kilya. Insert what happened so far in HXH, and I'm too goddamn lazy. Now Nen is essentially part of you life force. The reason I immediately had you activate 10 is so that way you wouldn't faint and die. There are 4 basic principles for Nen. The first is 10, which is what happened when the aura surrounded your body faintly. 10 is a basic defense against Nen-fueled attacks and Nen-aura attacks. However, 10 is overall useless against anything serious. For serious defense, it'll teach you Ken, but that will be later. Any questions so far? No, I reply. Okay, then next is what you will learn is Zetsu, and I'm going to show it to you, not tell you. What I want you to do for me is close your eyes and try to sense my presence with your Nen. Okay. I closed my eyes and I could immediately find his presence. It was massive. How much aura was within him was almost unreal. I got you, I said. Okay, now point to me while I walk around, hop and such. He hop dodged, ran. I could always find him. Alright, now I'm activating Zetsu. Izuku states. Wait, where did you go? I said. Open your eyes, he whispered in my ears. I did, and he was right next to me. I didn't even hear him move. I was creeped out to say the least. Zetsu allows you to seal your nodes, temporarily masking your presence and also hiding your location. Okay, what do I do? Now imagine putting your aura back in yourself again, but this time imagine sealing it off, Izuku said. I tried it first but I couldn't do it. It was partially closed but then stayed open. I tried again and got them to close with immense struggle. You RGG got them, I said. No way. Wow, you're a natural. Really, I asked. It usually takes a few days to learn by most. Next is Ren, which is what happened when I activated your Ren, but this time controlled a bit more so you don't lose all your strength. The ability to go to Ren then to 10 and back is really important, but I won't teach you that today. Instead, I'll tell you about the rest of my history. I guess I said disappointed. Don't be so disappointed. Also, I noticed you struggled a bit closing your nodes. If you want tonight, just practice it so it becomes like butter your transition. He offered. Okay. Now where were we? Yes, my next 2 teachers were Naruto and Sasuke, who saved the whole world from Kagaya Otsutsuki, Madara Uchiha and Obito Uchiha. He starts. Now for the sake of time, because it's getting late, I'll tell you what they taught me. They taught me the use of chakra, or bending my spiritual energy and combining it with the world's elements and energies. Each person has 1 or 2 that they have a proficiency in. For me, it's wind and lightning. In order to combine the energy, you create hand seals that alter the chakra, allowing the caster to use the power, but properly known as jutsu. Their objective was to teach me how to use it, and I did. Any questions? Why are you telling me your history? Because you happened to run into King, and now if I hide anything, it puts you in more danger than it would knowing. Finally, I went to Mr. Stark and Peter Parker. They taught me everything I know about building stuff and even taught me how to use stuff that hasn't been invented in this world yet, as well as some chemistry to make different kinds of chem weapons to capture people and make webs and stuff. It was cool. Also, Stark is the one who gave me the house and cars. And that's my story. Now, any final questions? No, that would be so cool to meet them though. You can and will later. How? Secret. HMPH. Fine. Now I need to take you home. It's past 7:30. Your parents are going to kill me. After that we headed out to his house and I headed to the front door. He had to grab something, I guess, so I waited for him at the front door. Out of nowhere he called Lambo, or Royce. Lambo, I called back. Alright, I'm coming. He walked up and gave me a sweater and walked out. "What's this for?" I asked. "That is for when we training, you need to have that on to enter my property. You can change it to a bracelet or a necklace as well, but I have it default to a blank sweater so I can grab them with ease." "Okay, how do I turn into a necklace?" I ask. "Push the chest part, then imagine it as any necklace you want and it will turn into that necklace, but beware if you try to imagine it as anything other than a hoodie, necklace or bracelet, the device will fail and will no longer be able to shift what it is," he responds. I tap the chest part, then imagine it as a diamond necklace that said Momo on the middle. Then we walk out to see his dark green Lambo. "Well, hop in," he said. "I still can't believe you're that kid from when we were 4 who was sticking up to Bakugo," I say. "Yeah, sometimes I still wonder if that was really me," he says. Afterwards we have a quiet ride to my house. It was a 25-minute drive, but it was peaceful and quite nice. I laid back and was tired, so I laid back and instantly fell asleep. "Momo, Momo, Momo," I heard. "What?" I asked. "You're up finally, we're at your house," someone said. I opened my eyes and instantly remembered what happened. I started blushing as I realized I fell asleep in his car. Then out of nowhere I was being lifted up and taken somewhere. "Knock knock." "Who is this?" a slightly robotic voice said. "Hello, my name is Izuku Lunar. Your daughter decided to see what business I still had after school with Nezu because I'm his personal student and was interested. I'm sorry for being here so late, but my classes ended late today and she stayed with me for them all," he ended. "Okay, come on in, Mr. Lunar," the voice said as a man opened the door. Izuku's Pav. "Hi, my name is Hiyashi Yarozu," a man said. "Hi, Mr. Yarozu. You can put my daughter down there," he said, pointing to another seat. "Okay," I said. "Now I would like to know what actually happened with you and my daughter," he said sternly. "Well, actually her and I are the class reps, so we had to meet with Aizawa-sensei after school. But afterwards, as she was supposedly went home, I went back inside for my test to get my supporter's license test today because as I said I am Nezu, I started." "Stop lying to me, child, I know Nezu and he doesn't have personal students," Mr. Yarozu said. At this I pick up my phone and call Nezu. It takes him a while to pick up and during such I just wait looking at Mr. Yarozu. "Hello, Izuku, what's up? Why are you calling so late? Usually you're done now," Nezu's voice comes through my phone. "Hi Nezu-sensei, I'm here with Mr. Yarozu," I say. "And?" asks Nezu. "Mr. Yarozu, can you confirm that this is in fact Nezu?" I ask. "Yes, that's him," he confirms. "Now Nezu-sensei, I need you to confirm that I am your personal student so I don't get accused of doing something with his daughter that I most certainly did not, and before you ask, Momo followed me to watch me during my test without me knowing and has fallen asleep when I took her home," I say. "Yes, Izuku is my personal student, Mr. Yarozu, I understand your concern, as well as why you would believe that I don't have such a student, but I know you were told that your daughter placed second on the test, and the person that scored higher is Izuku here who got a 100% on the test in 11 minutes and 26 seconds, and before you ask I checked to see if he cheated as well as did an IQ test, this child has knowledge greater than one of a university graduate," Nezu replies. After he said this I hung up the phone. And put it away. "Now can I continue my story?" I say. "1. Yes, sorry for my disturbance," he replied. "Great, now I had found out Momo was there when she unconsciously moved to come in when they had heard that I passed the support license exam, which only third years can take right before they graduate." After saying this, I pulled out my license. This happened at 5:03 p.m. when she found out. She was wondering why I needed my license, and I replied saying I needed it to use my hero suit because I made it myself. "Any questions so far?" "Can I see your hero costume?" he asked. "Yes sir, luckily I have my spare on me right now," I reply. I then double tap my bracelet and it turns into a suit that slowly covers my body. "I see," Mr. Yarozu said. "This is my nanotic suit. I must now take it off because technically wearing it outside of my own property or outside of school is illegal," I say. "Okay," he replies. "Now let me continue," I start after I explained that I was planning on going home when Momo started questioning how I managed to have a healing quirk alone, but yet seem to control the elements and what training I do to lift my wrist and ankle weights, as well as my vest. "Ah, so yes, how do you do control the elements?" he asked. "Well, you see, I have found a way to bend spiritual energy within myself and therefore changing the elements around me based on how I do it. Now I could only find a way to bend wind and electricity," I state. "I see. That is one strong quirk." "Actually it isn't a quirk like I said, my only quirk has to do with healing, however in order to unlock it, you would have to spend a lot of time meditating and be able to easily lift at least 125 tons. These wrist and ankle weights are all 45 tons each, meaning just my arms and ankles are holding 180 tons, however my vest is 52 tons," I state. "If you were telling the truth then the floor would have broke." Alright, I guess I have to prove it to you again, however for this one will you follow me outside, I say. Oh, and also do you have a machine that isn't capable of lifting things this heavy but can lift close to this heavy? Yes, actually I have a weight measurement that reaches up to 55 tons in weight, he says. Nice, that makes this easier, I reply. I put my wrist weight on and it reads 45 tons. He hit the machine, reset the machine and did everything to make sure it was accurate. After proving its accuracy, he wondered how his floors weren't breaking and I explained how I actually haven't sat down yet and have just been transferring my weight before the ground can even recognize the weight I'm putting on it. Now for the rest of my story, I say and pull out my driver's license. After this I took your daughter to my house after remembering an event when I had met her when we were 4. We both realized this, and then I explained why I ran away from my family, All Might, Telek, and my sister Izumi Yagi. Wait, you're Izuku Yagi, he asks. Yes and no, I reply. Explain. I ran away almost 11 months ago from my house and at the time my name was Izuku Yagi. However, I met someone who was impressed with my training up to that point and wanted me to train with him and his friends. After proving they had no hostile intent, I trained with him in the original man's quirk, which opens a pocket dimension. However, his dimension makes 2 years pass in the time 1 month passes on Earth. However, I age at the time as the real world, meaning in 2 years time I had aged 1 month. This happened for 20 years in that dimension where I leaned my battle training, unlocked my elemental changes, learned that I did have a quirk, and learned how to create things. This is also where I created my suit. Then when I left, everyone said I was missing for only 5 months, not 10, which means they didn't notice me missing for half the time I was gone. I explained this to them. However, during the 10 months I was gone, the others had legally changed my name, bought me my own place, and got me 2 cars. I drove your daughter here in my dark green Lamborghini that I was given. I told them that what they did was too much, but they insisted and wouldn't let me say no. I eventually accepted after a while, and during this I was given one last task from them, and that was to beat All Might and make them regret neglecting me for 11 1/4 years in the real world, I say. That would explain why she was asleep when you brought her here. I assume she fell asleep in your car. He asked. Yes. So what happened during I'm going to guess maybe 1.5 hours you were at your house, he asked. Honestly, all we did was catch up with each other, I responded. Ah yes, you mentioned meeting my daughter once before, when was that? Yes, well, one of my bullies was attacking your sister because they thought her quirk sucked and that he was stronger, so he was about to attack her when I took the beating for her, since I had already been dealing with his beatings for 5 months at that point in time, I responded. 12. Ah yes, I do remember her telling me about that, he replied. Yes, well, we were able to tell each other our names and chat for a minute before she left, so that is where we started and caught up from. Okay, I will not press you for any other information. I was just making sure she was alright, and you have proved your honesty many times, so I won't ask her. However, next time try and be back before 7 o'clock, this is your only warning, he said. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all are enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Also don't forget to support author of this fanfic. So let's end this video here. Until then, see you in next video.